I just want to point out, too, that Ray's last political endorsement was for a little-known candidate named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So maybe
you should listen to me. If you're a Queens resident, there's a very important race going on. It's the Queens District Attorney race. There is one candidate, I'm not going to say who, but you can kind of guess, stands out from the rest of the pack. She is the only career public defender running in this race. She's not taking any corporate PAC money. She's running a campaign of the people, for the people. Very, very progressive, holistic. So please, June 25th, go vote. Go vote.
Welcome to Regarding, where two POC
recommending Fire Theater in NYC. Please like and subscribe. It helps us. You'll get us to season 3 if you do, I promise you. My name is Ray Yamanuchi. I'm a playwright.
My name is Maria Pazalegre. I'm an artist and a theater critic. Welcome to our final episode of the season. We did it.
We did it. We
did
a
another
whole
season.
one.
Our baby's a toddler.
I know. We've come such a
so
long way. This episode, we got 2 great shows for you. Continuity.
And A Strange Loop.
And our guest is Chisa Hutchinson, playwright of Proof of Love, currently running at the Moneta Lane Theater.
So good.
Stay tuned.
Stick around.
Continuity is written by Bess Wohl, directed by Rachel Chapkin, and produced by Manhattan Theater Club.
An epic disaster film about global warming has nothing on this behind-the-scenes perspective. 1 part absurdist, 2 parts truth bomb, all parts entertaining AF. Trust us, the play is way better than the movie.
And god damn, is this play so fucking good!
I loved it.
I love this play. It's just so brilliantly layered. If you've seen Small Mouth Sounds, I think from 2016, I think, it's in that vein, in that it has that like really layered and nuanced and very subtle like writing, but this time it's way more political.
It made me care about global warming in a way that I didn't know that I hadn't. In retrospect, I feel so surface and like, yeah, I recycle, yeah, I go to some protests, but actually like, I went home and was like, what can I do? I need to be better about this. And she made it entertaining. She made it that I cared, but it wasn't didactic, you know? It actually, it was so entertaining and so funny, but so painful, you know?
What I think, you know, they actually, Bess Wohl and Rachel Chapkin, I think what they do really brilliantly in this play is that it's just so layered. So like the characters, the narrative, even the film that they're filming is all about global warming and climate change, but the play lulls you into this false sense of security with all these jokes and these stock characters, these caricatures, these, you know, recurring jokes, and then it just hits you. It's exactly like America's relationship with climate change. And it even asks that bigger question about the role of art in it too. Like, what is the film even doing, even if they got it right? What is the play doing in that meta-theatrical level? This is what I mean. This play is activating so many things on so many levels. It's just so brilliant. It's so fucking brilliant, and you have to see it.
It's Bess Wohl for president. Like, you crushed it.
Bess
and
Wohl
also,
2020.
Rachel Chapkin,
Yeah.
holy!
Oh my god, Wohl Chapkin 2020.
Oh my god. Endorsed by Regarding right now.
hell
You
yeah.
heard it here first.
Hell yeah. We have announced your presidential run for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly. But yo, this is insane. It's what the climate reports are trying to tell you. It does that emotionally. You know, it's fucking devastating. It really is devastating.
Speaking of devastating, I want to shout out Max Baker, who played Larry, the scientist, because devastating. I don't want to give away too much, but like, just watching him drop truth bombs and just the discomfort on both stage and in audience was so palpable, and I live for that. I loved it. I also adored Rosal Colon as Maria, the director, who's just like, you know, she's trying to get her movie made,
Right.
but at the same time, she's like said like, oh, you know, you're just
Right.
here because of me too.
Right.
You're like, they're actually trying to use that against her, and like
Right.
that is something I feel
Right.
so much is happening right now.
It's also, I feel like she's like a Al Gore stand-in where like no one takes her seriously. You know what I mean? And they keep changing her narrative. They keep changing her film. You know, it's just, again, it's working on so many
and
fucking
she's not the
levels.
one that gets to. Oh,
Exactly,
God, so
exactly,
many things.
exactly.
And meanwhile, there are other like the stock characters. If you have worked on a film set, you have run into, you know, the big dumb idiot on every diet. You have run into, you know, the hyper educated person who thinks that they don't, that like, oh, this is below me. They run into, you know, the movie star who doesn't really deserve to be there, but because they're a name, like that's why they're there.
Right.
Like it's just, it's so on point. It's so on point. Like it just felt like watching reality almost.
Continuity is at MTC. It's running until June 9th. I'm crossing my fingers that it gets extended, but you know, go check it out. For serious, go check it out. A Strange Loop is written by Michael R. Jackson, directed by Stephen Brackett, choreographed by Raja Feather Kelly. It's produced by Playwrights Horizons.
A Strange Loop is a musical about a queer black musical. A Strange Loop is a musical about a queer black musical. A Strange Loop is a musical about a queer black musical theater writer who does battle with all of the elements that make him and break him. There are no walls, only bulldozers led by a Greek chorus of insecurities, ancestors, and immediate family who have a lot to say.
This musical is so fucking good.
It is undeniably brilliant.
Yeah, it's
It is
fucking
so
awesome.
undeniably brilliant. It is just like from the very first line. It's just like, what?
Yeah,
What?
that
What
opening-
am I? Oh,
Yeah,
what?
that opening number, it was like, this is gonna be a fire show.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, after that opening number, the whole audience was basically
Was
on their
standing
feet.
up,
Yeah,
cheering.
basically,
like, yeah,
basically.
it was
crazy.
pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah. But what makes this musical so great is that it's so vulnerable, it's so naked, it's so deeply personal, and it's also so funny.
So the main character is Usher, and it's Usher is an usher in real life at the Lion King, and trying to write his own musical at night, and just coming to terms with everything that is harsh and beautiful. It's the agony and the ecstasy of being black, the agony and the ecstasy of being queer, the agony and the ecstasy of being a musical theater writer, the agony and ecstasy of watching brilliance on stage and like having it in your hands, but like everybody wants to see that, nobody wants to see yours, like all of that, and also, but just the bare nakedness of, you know, the discomfort in being attracted to white men,
Yeah.
you know, like just so many things of having a Taylor Swift inside you. It's so painful and it's so personal.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just so deeply human, and it's just so incredibly vulnerable that it's just unlike any other musical I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's also so deeply political.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
just so highly political in a way that channeled through the main character's personal issues. So there's issues about, you know, desiring whiteness. There's issues about relationship with your parents.
Not being
vis-a-vis-
enough.
Yeah, vis-a-vis religion. Yeah, and also sort of like selling out your career when you don't even have a career to sell, right? But it's this idea about
But also
dignity.
like disdaining others that do.
Right, but it's about dignity and integrity and you doing what you want to do, trying to do what's truthful, while at the same time, like, trying to make people happy, trying to make a living off of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so fucking awesome. It's just so
Yeah.
deep. One of my favorite scenes is when a musical number when he's grappling about doing a Tyler Perry musical or whatever it is, and the usher feels like he's above it, and then like his quote unquote ancestors like Harriet Tubman
Out
and
comes Harriet.
James Baldwin start coming out and just ripping into him. It's so funny.
And then in a blinding, dazzling gold coffin.
Don't say who it is, but just go see it. It's so so good. It's so funny.
The song's chorus is "Who the F is you N-word?" Like over and over. Like, oh my god.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny. It's great. It's great. Just go see it. Just go. It will be the best X amount of dollars you spend on that ticket. Whatever you spend, it's gonna be worth it. A Strange Loop is running until July 7th at Playwrights Horizons, so make sure
Come
you fucking
through.
see this shit. It's so fucking good.
While you can. Closing out season 2 of Regarding, we got you the goods. Welcome to Studio 3R playwright Chisa Hutchinson.
Yeah!
Yes!
Welcome, Chisa, to
Welcome.
our season finale episode of Regarding.
I feel so special.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So we both saw Proof of Love, but if you could please tell our audience, it's running at Minetta Lane. Can you tell us a little bit about the show?
Yeah. Proof of Love is about a wealthy black woman of a certain age. I will not reveal that age. She would never forgive me. But whose husband has been in a pretty horrific car accident, and while he's there in the hospital in a coma, she discovers some unpleasant things about him, unpleasant and surprising things.
Just a little unpleasant.
And I'll leave it at that. You can probably guess, but
Yes, but then like, oh boy.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I really tried to make it as nuanced as possible. It's a very sort of familiar and typical narrative, but I really tried to use it as a vehicle to explore social or socio-political themes.
So Proof of Love is a solo show. Constance, the main character, is played by what's her
Brenda
name?
Presley.
Right, Brenda Presley, brilliant, incredible performance. But the solo show includes a lot of other key characters that we never get to see. And I was wondering why you decided to make it a solo show instead of something more traditional.
Because I actually wrote it to be a radio play. Audible, yeah, it's part of their emerging writers commissioning, program. And I was in the first class.
Right.
So yeah, the condition was, okay, write us a play. We're gonna give you this money. You write this play, and it needs to work in audio format, and it should have 1 or 2 characters.
Got it.
And I decided, I think I can probably swing it with just the 1 character. So I wrote it, and I really tried not to make it a typical sort of like one person, one-man show kind of a thing where it's like, okay, now I'm gonna sit here and direct address the audience to death, telling you what my childhood was like and blah blah, because I feel like that gets tired. So I really tried to make it so that the audience is a fly on the wall of the hospital room where her husband is lying there, and she's sort of processing all of these things that she's discovered about him, and the implications therein.
So, it seems like with a lot of your other plays, but especially with Proof of Love, you explore classism. And I noticed that Constance, the protagonist, lashes out at sort of quote-unquote poorer black people in ways that sort of emulate whiteness. And I was wondering, do you feel that as people ascend, or POC specifically, ascend in class, that they inherently more sort of inclined to emulate whiteness, or is this something that's more conscious, do you think? In regards, I guess, generally, and in regards to your play.
Oh man, it's so complex.
We only ask the complex questions here.
Tell me your racial philosophy.
But I do think that really anyone who lives in America is sort of groomed to think that, okay, this is how a successful person speaks, or this is how an upper class person behaves. This is what you need to aspire to that, right? And yes, and it just so happens that a lot of the sort of obviously successful people are people who know which consonant to pronounce first in the word ask, you know? It's like...
Right.
So, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, I guess we should be speaking like that if we want to come across as successful or as educated or, you know, as somebody, right? But there's this sort of, the pendulum sort of swings in the other direction also where, you know, especially like in the Black community, there is this sort of resistance or like you don't want to identify with the oppressor, right? So if you sound white, right, that's not a good thing in a lot of, you know, predominantly Black neighborhoods. Or like, I don't know, like why Cardi B is like so popular right now, right? Because there you have a successful person,
who like didn't forget her roots or like didn't sacrifice herself,
and also just still speaks like you know she's on the block from the hood, like you know she's still in the Bronx. No airs. She didn't like whatever. She speaks how she speaks. She speaks how she grew up speaking, and I think people really dig that. It works, I mean, with working class white people too, you know, there's like, I mean, look at Trump, like he's the most obvious example. That dude has like a third grade vocabulary and yet he's got gold toilets and is the president of the United States. So.
Was there something very specific that inspired Constance?
A lot of specific things inspired Constance. I'll zoom in on this one right now because since you brought up the sort of the aspirational Black, right? That there's I've had a few different experiences. I've experienced being I don't even know how many different kinds of Black like throughout my life. So I grew up in like a pretty shitty neighborhood in a shitty city, you know, piss poor, just not a lot of, you know, weak educational system. I mean, just, you know, all of that. And then I got a scholarship to go to a private school that I thought was a boarding school. Turns out it wasn't, so I had to move in with this.
Surprise!
Surprise!
I
had read the brochures more carefully.
Read the fine print.
Oh my gosh! Like,
so it was a day school, and I was like,
a lot of stuff.
Okay, so having a campus with multiple buildings does not like mean that it's a boarding school. So I wound up having to move in with a host family, which was a white, wealthy host family.
You were like an exchange student.
I was, basically. I felt like I was colonizing another planet. Like, it seriously.
My
like,
turn.
It's pretty ridiculous. So, but I moved in with this family. They're so cool. Like, they're my family.
Wow,
like,
shout out to you guys.
I love them so much. But yeah, it was, I felt like a rubber band being stretched to, you know, this extreme and that extreme. And I think that exposure, you know, to like that extreme and everything in between, the exposure has really allowed me to create a character like Constance, who, you know, I really had to sort of approach her without judging, you know, this woman who is Black but judges other Black people as if she were not, or like, or judges other Black people as harshly as white people do. And it, yeah, I had to really sort of like try to imagine what it would be like to only have that, to have only had the exposure to the one extreme, and how that would affect your attitudes and your behavior and your relationships with other Black people, especially one. I mean, her husband, who is
does not necessarily come from that world.
Does not come from. She comes from a world like the world that I grew up in, which was what allowed me to write, I think, truthfully about him. Also, you know, her describing what she knows of his experience. So stretching that rubber band in this play, you know. Working it out. That rubber band is getting
Elastic at this point.
Yeah.
So since your New York debut, which was She Likes Girls, this year will mark your 10th year as professional playwright.
Whoa.
So hi. Looking back, what are some of the things regarding your playwriting that you think have changed, and maybe things that haven't changed?
Well, what hasn't changed is I definitely always feature people of color somehow. And whether they actually talk about, the state of being a person of color, right? That's like beside the point. Like just in some way, shape, or form, people of color are there, living their lives. I think what has changed though is, talking of She Like Girls, the thing, She Like Girls, spoiler alert,
It's been 10 years.
ends with a literal bang right now. Like the published version of it right now, anyway, ends with the protagonist being shot because that's what. And I just I got such response, and when I heard particularly from a gay young person, like, oh, I love this play. I was really kind of hurt by the end of the play, and not for the reasons that you would think. I mean, not for like the usual reasons of like, oh, this young person lost her life, but more because like, oh, I just felt like I feel like I'm so tired of, basically like having my face rubbed in our victimhood over and over and over again. My friend Oren Squire coined the perfect term for this, entertainment.
Ooh,
I know, he's a genius. But yeah, this
props.
Just this idea that people of color, or really any sort of like traditionally, historically oppressed people, right, have to put their suffering on display for everyone else, for them to sort of like gobble up. So yeah, I just try to be more mindful of, not waving the victim flag, and not making, especially my people, especially people of color, feel like, the only thing that makes the only thing of value about them, or the only thing that defines them, is their suffering, or their oppression. There's so much more.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations?
I have so many recommendations.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Recommendation time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First, Zeal.com. It is like a massage service. Okay, I'm really into massages. It's like my guilty pleasure is my thing. It's like my thing. And they will they've got a whole network. I've traveled to other places and done Zeal.com.
Wow.
And they have massage therapists who will travel to you with their tables and their oils and everything.
That's like seamless for massages.
And they will massage. It is. It's a thing of beauty, and it will change your life. Also,
self-care.
My second recommendation. Okay, ThreadUp. It is online consignment, but it's like consignment with standards. And it's like me, like I love anthropology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you know how they have those sweaters for like $398 or whatever, that you're like, oh, maybe if it goes on double sale, I'll buy it, right?
And even then, it's only $100. Yeah.
But then it's like, it's never in your size, or like the one that they have left is like extra large or whatever, right? That sweater is on ThreadUp. I promise you.
Wow.
And you can get it for like $28 or
Oh,
something ridiculous. Like
shit.
it's stupid. Like
Where's my phone?
Holy shit.
And they have like so many different brands, and people are just, they just get rid of all this really great stuff.
Cheers. Thank you, Chisa, for coming
you, Chisa.
on. Thank you so much.
This was fun.
Thank you so much, Chisa. That was amazing. We are so glad that you were the final guest of our second season. Please come see Proof of Love. It's playing at Minetta Lane Theater until
June 16.
Oh, so check it out. You got some time.
And if you want an extended interview, make sure you go here, somewhere over here. You know what to do.
And like always,
Like and
subscribe.
please.
It means so much to us. I would say it keeps the lights on, but actually the lights in the set are gonna look a little different next season.
Maybe
We're
we'll
gonna
see.
change it
We'll
up.
see.
We made a season.
Thank you for all the guests from season 2 for coming on. I mean, it's just been such a wild ride, you know. But also, thank you to all the viewers out there. Thank you for supporting
Thank
us.
you.
You know, please tell your friends. You know, regarding for the children, we do this for the children. So
I want to thank Ray because what is never said is that he is in charge of the editing. He's in charge of so much of our marketing. He is in charge of our social media. He is the one that really does so much of that extra work. And so I got to give it up to you. This was a great idea, and I could not be more proud to be a part of this production.
thank you, Maria. And I want to thank Maria. I want to thank Maria for always being a sport, always being the support pillar of regarding, always giving me constructive feedback.
Sometimes I'm just petty. I mean, let's be real.
Listen, you know the dynamic here. You get it. You know?
There needs to be more voices of color reviewing,
Absolutely.
recommending theater of color. It can't just be one paper determining the fate of a play. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
We out here, please keep watching. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your family.
And stay tuned for season 3. We're coming
Yo,
back.
3 years. Yo,
Back,
come on, man. See you in the fall, bitches. I'm a little drunk, you know.